Hockey town, going down to hockey town, whoa, whoa. Hockey town, take me down to hockey town, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. I'm Kenny Gallagher, along with Jerry Burrow, and we're going to talk Minnesota hockey for the next half hour. And Jerry, I was down in Key West, Key Largo, and I drove into Key West and saw the southernmost hockey rink. Didn't get a chance to really look at it other than I came up to an intersection and I saw this sign. It said southernmost hockey rink, and I saw boards.
So when does it freeze over?
But I can't imagine there was any ice there. I don't know if it's a roller set up for roller hockey or boot hockey, but
That might be a good rollerblade.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's funny.
But it's good to be back because when you're down in Key West in that area, you don't pay a lot of attention to what's going on in the television. So, and another thing I discovered that I'm not too fond of is that you're on that East Coast time, that Eastern time zone.
Yeah.
And that wild Dallas game that went past midnight, well, it's 1 a.m. down there.
Huh.
And so it's tough to
It's
stay up.
pretty late.
Even Saturday Night Live comes on at 11:30, so you're not. I don't know how they do it down there, but I didn't get to see a lot of hockey. But the hockey that I did see, I was really impressed with the play of Mikko Koivu. Now I don't know if that is because Zach Parise and Thomas Vanek weren't on the ice during this playoff run, but he showed me something. He
had a couple of good games, I thought.
Well,
I thought Granlund impressed me more, but he didn't
well,
score
I don't know
points.
what games you were watching, but
I thought the playoffs, I thought he was giving it
Michelle
all.
Granlund?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Michaela Granlund?
Oh, you're a funny guy. That Florida sun really got to you. So, yeah, the Wild went to 6 games with the Dallas Stars, our former Minnesota North Stars.
Yeah.
And you still hate the Dallas team because of that, don't you?
Always will.
Always will.
Yeah.
So Norm does whatever.
Yes, he still does suck.
But I'll tell you what, Dallas is a good team. They got a lot of big players, I mean, size-wise. And a lot of people are saying, oh, we didn't have Parise, but they didn't have one of their top players through the whole series.
Seguin?
Yep.
Seguin. Yeah.
Tyler. And he's one of the top scorers in the National Hockey League. And I tell you what, it was just a crazy series, I thought. The first game of the series, we lost 4-0. We didn't show up at all. And then the next game, I thought we played a lot better, and it was 2-1.
Yeah.
And then the third game, we come back home. So we're behind 2-0 in the series. And Dallas scores.
The first 2 goals of the game.
Yeah. But
2-0.
But I thought, after about 7-8 minutes, we took over. We were relentless. We were every player was skating. It was a team game. It was amazing.
Well,
where was this the first all year, really?
Well, I'm glad that you wrote this down because Chris Porter scores with less than a minute to play
Right.
in the first period. And
a
now
bad
it's 2-1.
angle, I thought. I mean,
And then look at this Pominville again within the final minute of the second period.
Right.
And now we've got a lead.
right. And then, it was our best game by far.
Wild go on to win Game 3 5-3. And then Dallas wins Game 4 3-2.
And we didn't play that bad there.
And this game here, I had to turn off the TV because it was late. And it was just, I didn't think that Minnesota would necessarily even win the game,
Right.
being down. And lo and behold, Mikko Koivu.
Okay, there's your Koivu. Give him credit there.
Game-tying goal.
Right.
And then in overtime, Koivu
Right.
gets the game winner. Huge win for the Wild in Dallas.
Right. So now we're coming back home.
Home rink advantage.
We've been pretty good on these 6 games, when we need to win in that. I'll tell you what, it was pathetic.
Pathetic.
first 2 periods, we didn't. They should have stayed in the locker room. Minnesota did not show up at all the first
Well, I
2
didn't get to
periods.
see the game, but why is that, Jerry?
I don't know. These are pros. They get paid, and it was an embarrassment.
Well, they're pros in the playoffs to boot.
But it's just crazy to see these hockey players play the way they did.
In front of the hometown fans.
Right. I mean, they're booing.
Here's the thing, and I've noticed this. This has kind of been a routine that the Wild have gotten into. They have good stretches on the road, whatever, the playoffs. They win a big game, and then they come home and there's this horrible letdown. Why is that?
I don't know.
It's a mindset.
You know, it's very hard in this league, with the parity, to play 60 minutes of just great hockey. But I'll tell you what, you can at least show up and be competitive. And they didn't show up for 2 periods. So people are saying, okay, we're behind 4-0, but we came back. It was 4-3, and then they got a fluke goal to make it 5-3, and we scored another one. I think a lot of people are saying that they were not showing it, that we scored another goal, but they called it off. That it didn't go over the goal line, they're saying, but who knows?
No, you're talking about the Niederreiter?
Yes.
You know, I got to tell you, if you watch that play, that's a goal. But here's the thing. The player for Dallas, Demers,
Yep.
he grabs the puck.
Right, that's a penalty.
That's a penalty shot.
Shot. Right.
Was that ever in the discussion? Because I didn't see this until replays the next day.
We had discussion on that up in the press box. After showing it, they're showing the replay and that, hey, what is he doing with his hand over the puck like that, But here's the thing. A lot of people say, we came back and we gave them a good game. BS. They should have showed up that first period. This would never happen, and we would have beat them that game.
Well, look
And
at
we
here,
would have
even
been-
game one.
We would have
4-0.
been playing tonight.
Interesting, Jerry, that we would be playing, had we won the series, we'd be playing the St. Louis Blues, who beat Chicago last night to advance. And what happened last season? We beat St. Louis in the playoffs. Actually, the Wild have done well against St. Louis.
Regular season games that we did well this year. I think we match up well with St. Louis.
I do too.
And I'll tell you what, St. Louis, I give them credit for hanging in there last night with Chicago, because that was a great series they had, and it was like different games during the game. See, one team's take off in the beginning, and then another team comes back, and then it was just great hockey. I mean, never ending in that, and hitting, and it was just great hockey.
Yeah.
And hey, hats off to St. Louis. Now they get Dallas, and each team has a Minnesota player. David Backus, the captain of St. Louis, is playing the assistant captain. Alex Goligoski from Grand Rapids,
sure,
the defenseman.
Well, let's talk about the Wild and what, Torchetti came here, interim coach, his third stint as an interim coach. I got to believe that he's not going to be considered for a permanent position.
I think he'll be considered, but I think the chances are less than 50% that he'll get it.
Well, who do you think is a likely candidate? Or
I don't
maybe
know.
Who would you like to see?
I think,
as a head
they're
coach
going to
for
have
this
to
team?
think of someone with experience, but I don't know. That's a tough one, because I don't think a coach with experience is going to change that unless they change some of these players. I think it's the players they have to change, and I think.
Well, what about Parisi and Suter? They came here. They're up there in age. They've got these hefty contracts. Do you think one of these will find a new home next year, perhaps, based on
It's a tough
a trade?
one. I think they got a no trade in their contracts, and
Yeah.
they like it here in the Twin Cities, and I don't think so. I think they're here.
All right. Okay, so
Unless-
they're here. Thomas Vanek?
They're not going to buy them out because that's too much money. Vanek would be one. He has a year left that they can buy out his contract. And
What's Mikko Koivu's status?
I think they'll let him stay and finish his contract because he's the captain, and I think they can still use him.
Do you know what his contract runs through?
I think he has another 2 years.
Okay.
I think he has 2 years left.
All right. Where do you see some changes coming? Defense?
Oh, yes. I think there's going to be some trades
All right.
during the offseason.
Who goes?
I think the only two safe ones right now because of Suter with his contract
And Scandella.
Spurgeon, I think.
Well,
is the
Scandella
one.
had the extension too.
Right, but they can trade.
True.
So he'd be the third one I would keep, but everything else is open on the defense side. And then I think at the end of the season, I think Niederreiter looked real good. Granlund looked real good, even though I didn't, like you said during the season, he just didn't impress anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they put him over on left wing there in the playoffs and instead of center, and he played a lot better. I think he's too small to be center and get down low. I think he can do other things better. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they'll keep him. Charlie Coyle was pretty solid this year. He had a pretty good year, I thought. And then after the coaches change, Eric Hulla. I don't know.
Yeah.
There had to be a problem with Yo and Hulla.
Yeah.
I mean, because he started playing real good and he got a lot of playing time. Then Parisi will be back. So we got 6 forwards and 2 or 3 defensemen, and they'll keep the goalies.
Now you have the young draft pick from a couple of years ago, Alex Tuck, who his college career has ended with Boston College. Will play in the minors, but do you think he'll be up with a big team next year? Is he?
I think he doesn't have the experience, and I think they need to get a little experience and go down to Iowa in the American Hockey League, their farm team, and get some experience there. And I can see them, if he's playing good, they'll bring him up a game here and a game there.
Yeah.
And that Gabriel that they used in the playoffs, the big guy, I think same thing. I think he'll be back in Iowa, and then they'll use him when maybe they go on a road trip where they play the big teams like the LA Kings and Anaheim. If they go out west, they might bring him up for that. And St. Louis, Dallas are
How about
big
Pominville?
teams. Here's a tough one. I don't know. He's I think if they can find something in the trade or something like that, they would trade.
What do you think is the likelihood that Zach Parise, I mean, he's got a herniated disc. This is an injury that really doesn't get better.
Right. And if they operate, he can be out for close to a year, they say.
Yeah. Do you think this is something that we should be concerned about, is whether or not this could even be a career
I would.
type of...
I mean, he's getting up there in age, and the injuries, they don't heal as fast.
No.
And, I'd be concerned.
What about Zucker?
Zucker had a hard year.
He did.
He
did. He had a little flash going
so
early on, but it dimmed.
And I think he lost a lot of confidence at the end of the year there.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens in the offseason. We
getting-
don't know everything.
Yeah.
Was he injured a little bit? Was he? But he has speed. Just like Schroeder, they used him. They didn't use him until game 5 when he scored a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like his style of play too. But Fontaine, UMD player, I think he's gone.
Sure. Let's get back to this coaching situation. John Torchetti, interim coach. Do they look at somebody on the bench, an Andrew Brunette, a Daryl Sador? I got to tell you, when we hired Mike Yeo, Craig McTavish of Edmonton was somebody, I don't know if they interviewed him but he was, I think that he did get a chance to interview at least. And I thought maybe he'd be a good fit for this team. I don't know. I don't even know if he's coaching.
I don't think he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll look for someone that's free. That's we'll see after the playoffs, because there'll be some firing. Maybe some of these teams don't get far where they expected them to get far. We'll see. Like I thought, if Hitchcock lost last night with St. Louis, he would have been fired, because that would be 4 years in a row where they're the favorite and they lose in the first round. So, but I'm sure there's going to be a few out there that have a lot of experience, and we'll see if that's the way they're going to go.
Yeah, free agency begins July 1st, so we're a ways away from free agency. Of course, we got to get through the playoff run, and we're still in April.
Right. We're just finishing the first round tomorrow night. Anaheim and Nashville go their 7th game.
Yeah, Nashville. They're
playing good. Mm-hmm. They'll be out in Anaheim tomorrow night, and then the first round's over. So the winner of that game, let's see, they'll be playing San Jose. and then Dallas and St. Louis. So that's the western side. On the eastern side, big matchup with stars, Pittsburgh and Washington.
This is a series that could be billed as a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, two very, very good teams.
Right, and then in Tampa and New York Islanders.
As a matter of fact, you could possibly say the winner of that series could be the Stanley Cup favorite.
Right, because Pittsburgh's playing very good hockey
They sure
right now.
are, and they're healthy.
Right. And then New York Islanders, they got some Minnesota kids that are playing pretty good. And
Minnesota East.
There you go. They got Brock Nelson. They got, Anders Lee, but he's been injured. Let's see, who else have? Nick Leddy,
Yep.
that was
Yep.
a Minnesota Wild player.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Probably one of the
Clutterbuck.
worst trade we ever did, I think.
Cam Barker with the Chicago Blackhawks, and Fletcher will have to live with that one for the rest of his life. But again, I was in Florida vacationing and watching the local news. They referred to the Florida Panthers, they referred to them as the Cats. The Cats?
Yeah.
All right.
We got Kyle
Heard that
also
one.
on that team.
Sure.
So there's a lot of Minnesota kids. In Washington, they have a few players.
Niskanen.
Niskanen. They have T.J. Oshie.
Yep.
They got Nate Schmidt that played at St. Cloud Cathedral. So they got a few there. We've got a lot of Minnesota kids. There's two playing, one on each team in Dallas and St. Louis.
What was disappointing that the Wild weren't able to consistently show up and play good hockey.
Right. I'm just the way they played in this playoffs. I'm disappointed in the team.
Yeah.
The way they started out, and then that last game.
Yeah.
The first two periods, that was the worst two periods I've seen. I mean, they played some bad periods this year.
Yep.
But that was the worst two periods I've seen them all year.
And
then-
that's so
Then
unacceptable.
And then they played the best period they played all year in that third period. That doesn't make sense to me.
the consistency isn't there, and you've got to play your best hockey this time of the year. I don't know, is the
Why do you-
desire to
Why do
win
you need
there?
a boot in your butt to
Yeah.
get going?
Yeah.
I mean, you should be out there. This is the sixth game. You're in front of your home fans, and to play with no fire in you, no desire to check, skate, fight
Well,
for the
maybe
puck.
this is more than just players and head coach. Maybe this goes up to general manager and Fletcher.
Wow, it could. I always like it when they say his job is safe, and then a week later they fire him, just like his job was safe, Fletcher said, and all of a sudden 3 days later he's out.
Well, you got to wonder what Leopold, will do here, and whether or not, Fletcher.
He's frustrated. I look over the rail and I see his private box there, and he's watching on TV, but I can see he's nervous and that when things happen. And every time Dallas scored, I looked, just not good. And his sons are just sitting there like, oh my God,
Well, the Minnesota Wild eliminated from the playoffs. We wait till next October to see what they can do next season. But the Minnesota Wilderness, they're still playing.
Yep. But they got a big series with probably the best team in the North American Hockey League. Plus, they got to go up there.
Fairbanks. Yeah.
So
Now, will they play all the games up there just because of travel?
It looks like they'll have to play all three up there.
It's a best of 5.
Yeah, so they can be done after.
And those games will be played 29th and 30th?
I think Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, because then they'll come back here. If they win one game, then they have to come back here and play a game the following Friday. But then if they get through this series, then the week after that, I think it's 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, something like that. But it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They have the Final Four, the winner of each conference division, like the Midwest and is it Central? And then they have East, and they got South.
Mm-hmm.
So all 4 winners of these things go to Edina, and they'll play the best out of 3. And then they'll have just a 1-game final, which is kind of weird, but just that's the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
But I think having it in Edina and having 4 teams in there, I think that it's kind of cool.
I'll go Wilderness. Hey, what about this under-18 team that won a championship?
Oh, you mean the one in the world?
Yeah.
They didn't win the championship. They won. They got the bronze.
Oh, is that okay? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought they.
They lost to Finland in the semis,
Oh, okay, but
4-2. But then they kicked Canada's
Canada,
butt.
but they beat. Okay, well,
Yeah.
beating Canada is kind of like a
Yeah.
championship.
Oh yeah, they wanted them in the championship, and then they
Yeah.
lost too. Then, so Sweden beat
Oh,
them.
okay.
So
Oh, they lost to Sweden
yeah,
eventually.
but that was they got a lot of Minnesota kids. Kiefer Bellows, Joey Anderson. They got some other kids on there.
And Kiefer, what's his?
He's going to Boston U.
Really?
Yeah,
How did that work out?
yeah. He committed there right after he
Oh, my.
left Edina early.
Now he's a Minnesota native.
Right.
Yeah.
Played at Edina High School when they won the championship.
Yeah. Boston U, huh?
Yep.
All right.
So Boston U's getting some good recruits, and then then Joey Anderson will be coming to UMD this year. He got a lot of points in that tournament, so I'm looking forward to see him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be a good third liner for the team because they're going to be pretty loaded with forwards. Everyone's coming back. They didn't lose too much at forwards. Cameron Enisi.
Yeah.
And they lost him. They'll miss a little bit there in Farley. But
Yeah.
outside of that,
Yeah.
but I think they're replaceable. So I think they got a lot of good forwards coming back, and they'll miss Walensky at D,
Oh, big time.
but they got a lot of D coming back, and I think the biggest problem UMD or mystery will be at goaltending.
You bet it will be.
And they got two hunters fighting I think will be fighting for that starting job. Hunter Shepard, that was goalie of the year, senior goalie of the year. He's from Grand Rapids, and he plays Alton Bismarck in the North American Hockey League. Let's see if I have anything. Yeah, in 50 games this year, he only allowed 1.90 goals and save percentage of 9.926, so that's not bad.
Well, when you said two hunters, I thought you meant Denfeld, and I was trying to think to myself,
And there's Hunter Miska.
both of these goalies are their first names are Hunter.
Right.
Oh my.
And,
right.
and they're both from Minnesota. So then Hunter Miska, he plays at Dubuque in the USHL, and 46 games, he's got a 2.46 goal against average, and .913. But he's playing pretty good in the playoffs. In 4 games, he's a 1.56 and .946 goal save percentage. That's not bad. So both these goalies I think will be good competition.
Yeah.
And hope they can start out, doing real good. Because there's going to be a lot of pressure on them at first, whoever gets that starting job, because Kashmir, he did a heck of a job coming in here. And
He sure did. He
So-
sure did. Yeah.
And we wish him the best, He had the opportunity and he took it.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong with that.
Well, no, when you can sign a professional contract, that's why you're playing hockey as a youth, and you finally get to a D1 school, and you realize that your dream of being a professional hockey player is a little bit closer, and plus you get a new car out of the deal.
There you go.
Why not?
And then they had the high performance NIT, and so they had a couple teams from Wisconsin, Michigan, one team from Massachusetts, one from North Dakota, and 2 from Minnesota. And the 2 Minnesota teams, the seniors are the kids that are graduating this spring, and then the high performance 18 are kids that are turning 18 this year, but they still have another year of high school. And the high school kids are coming back this following year. They beat the seniors 7-1. But then at the same time going on,
Whoa. What was this?
the 18 team beat the seniors 7-1, Minnesota senior team. They were in the finals, these 2 teams.
Now, what's this NIT?
And it's a national invite tournament.
Okay.
So they invite teams from other states and that. Like Michigan brings their senior team, and then they bring in their 18 team, which is, like I said, these 18s are still have another year of high school.
Okay.
But they're turning 18.
Yeah.
So, but the 2 Minnesota teams were the top 2 teams in each bracket, so they met in the finals on Sunday, and the ones that are coming back next year for their last year of high school beat the seniors that are graduating this year 7-1. So they kind of kick butt. Usually the seniors win this tournament.
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
time.
really? Okay.
Yeah. Then they had the red, white, and blue best 16 and 17s in Minnesota. So they had 3 teams. The week before they had 1 team from every section, but then they cut it down to the top 54. And that was great. So we had a lot of northern boys on these teams. So, and now because it's over, they'll pick 1 team on each, the 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds, and they'll be out in Lake Placid in August for their tournament. And that's so we'll see a lot of Minnesota kids going out there. That'll be nice if you make the team. And
So Norm McIver's team, the Chicago Blackhawks, is out, but Tommy Curver's team, Tampa Bay, they're still in it.
there you go. Yeah, it's still kind of funny. And I don't know what Curvers does because he's at almost all the Wild game.
Well, he's an assistant GM.
Yeah, but he's always up in Minnesota, so he doesn't really get down to Tampa.
He's out scouting and looking and watching.
I
And,
guess one way of seeing other teams is watching Wild play the teams that they play. And it's close to home. I guess he has a house in Bloomington, plus up in Brainerd. But in the USHL, their playoffs, they cut it from 16 to the top 8 teams for the start the playoffs, and right now it's coming down to the semis where Waterloo will be against Tri-City, and Dubuque will play the winner. I guess they have the best of 5, and Bloomington and Cedar Rapids are still playing. But Dubuque, like I say, has a Duluth East kid, Andrew Kerr, and they have the goalie Hunter Miska on that team.
oh, okay.
So,
All right.
so he's still playing in the playoffs, so that's nice.
Yeah. Well, getting back to this Minnesota Wilderness team, I know that they beat Janesville, and you've got the scores there. They lost the first game 5-2. They won the second game 2-1, and then back-to-back overtime wins 2-1 and 3-2. They're kind of doing what they did last year when they went to the Cup and won it, the Robertson Cup, that is. And they're kind of coming from behind. I mean, down 1-0 in the series, and
Well, it's kind of funny. Look at these scores: 2-1, 2-1 with 2 overtimes, 3-2. It's just crazy. How low of scoring it is. And then, but a lot of people don't know this, but Janesville has one of the best goalies in juniors that's going to Michigan, Jack LaFontaine. He's recruited by Michigan, but he's one heck of a goalie.
is he related to that LaFontaine that played in the NHL?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But you never know. There's always a connection 7
True.
degree down.
True. Well, the Minnesota, are we at the end here? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, the Minnesota Hockey Connection, you can find us online, mnhockeyconnection.com, and our Facebook page. Find us on Facebook and like us there. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is produced at Public Access Television, PACT-TV in City Hall. We do thank the staff at PACT-TV as well. And Jerry, what are we going to do? Another show and then call it a season?
Yeah, let's do
All
one
right.
more and call it a season. Maybe what we'll do is get our Minnesota All-Star teams from high school, juniors, college, and pro.
I like that idea.
We'll make a little All-Star thing.
All right.
So,
Good.
yeah.
Well, with that, we'll be back here next week to do it again. And in the meantime, catch as much hockey as you can that's left on the TV. Any hockey at a local rink?
Well,
Amsoil?
we might have it a week later.
Heritage?
We might have it a week later. Is maybe the Minnesota Wilderness? Good luck to them if they
You
can.
bet. You
If
bet.
they can beat at least one game up in Fairbanks.
Well, we
they'll
hope.
be coming back home.
Yeah, we hope for more hockey up in Cloquet, Northwoods Credit Union Arena. And until next week, we'll be back then.